Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Carl, a member of the CK-12 team, and my colleague Katie and I will be running today's webinar on Common Core Math on CK-12. We're so glad to join you, so we'd like to be the first to wish you happy Friday. If you're in Korea, like our user Liz, but to everybody else, we wish you happy Thursday. Sorry about that. Many of you have already participated in the CK-12 Certified Educator Program that we ran this July. The Certified Educator Program is completely free, and participants become certified when they attend 5 webinar sessions, watch 2 demand sessions, and complete the 7 matching assignments. If you joined us for sessions this summer and are attending today to fulfill your requirements, please continue working on your CEP July 2019 class. If you're brand new to the Certified Educator Program and would like to learn more and officially register with us, please click on the register button at ck12.org/certified. Fill out the information form and you'll receive details on how to join the program and get started with the assignments. Now let's make sure everyone's comfortable with the Zoom web platform. You should see 2 different options on your Zoom screen. One for Q&A and one for chat. During today's presentation, whenever you have a question about CK-12, please post it in the Q&A window. The chat window is a place for a community conversation. We'd love for all of you right now to introduce yourselves. If you're an educator, feel free to share where you live or the subject you teach. Just make sure that in the chat window that you are sending any general posts to all panelists and attendees, not just to the CK-12 or the panelists. I can see already people have sent it just to the panelists. Please go back and click on the bottom, all panelists and attendees. And that way everybody gets to see your comments. Also, while we don't anticipate any technical issues during our broadcast, if you're having any trouble with your video or sound, please let us know in the Q&A or chat window. We have created a handy resource page for each webinar session. You can find it in the tiny URL listed on the screen, which is tinyurl CK-12 CCSS 2019, or in the program Flexbook for anybody that's doing the Certified Educator Program. And we'll also put it in the chat window right now. You're welcome to print these resource pages or simply save them and use them as a reference down the road. And with that, let's get started. So as we said, today's session is called Common Core Math on CK-12. Specifically, we'll be covering added interactivity and PLIX, both PLIX and custom embedded activities found directly within the text of the CK-12 FLEXBOOKS. CK-12 CCSS FLEXBOOKS, accessing and exploring CK-12's Algebra 1, Algebra 2 geometry books, and our brand new grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8 mathematics interactive FLEXBOOKS. Finally, we'll be covering strategies for using Common Core interactive FLEXBOOKS. Teachers' guides, strategies for incorporating these FLEXBOOKS both outside and during class time. We also want to find out if any of you have explored our books so far and what you're looking for in a Common Core FLEXBOOK. In a few seconds, you'll see a poll here that will prompt you to respond to 2 short questions. Have you explored any of the CK-12s with embedded interactives? And you'll see a variety of responses. And then next, what are you looking for in a Common Core FLEXBOOK? And you can select all that apply. Feel free to select more than one. And I'll give you a few minutes to do this. All right, so at this time, make your final selections there. And we'll find out what you all have said. All right, so with the first question, have you explored any CK-12 FLEXBOOKS with embedded interactives? It looks like a large majority of you have seen but not really explored them, which is kind of what we'd expect if you showed up to this webinar today. And finally, what are you looking for in a Common Core FLEXBOOK? 95% of you, more than anything else, are looking for interactivity. And guided discovery is there, and you'll see Katie's going to explain how that exists within our beautiful lessons, and then examples and practice into there. So looks like you kind of want everything. So I think Katie's got her hands full here, and she's going to help you understand everything that we offer here with our Common Core books. CK-12's PLIX, which stands for Play, Learn, Interact, and Explore, includes descriptions, links to related reads, interactive frames, and challenge questions, which build a higher level thinking and open discussions. In addition to the links to full PLIX within the text, you're going to see some simple interactions, including options to adjust content, explore angles and graphs, drag and drop answer choices, and more to give students instant feedback. These interactives can be found in our new Common Core interactive FLEXBOOKS on the CK-12 2.0 platform, where we bring together the best of CK-12 right in the lesson, and then use our intelligence to provide a personalized journey for each student. Currently, you can access the published books in 3 different ways. You'll find these in our new FLEXBOOK 2.0 platform directly from the Explore menu by choosing Common Core Math and clicking on FLEXBOOKS. Also from the Subjects menu homepage browse by choosing Math Level, or by scrolling to the bottom of the pages on CK12.org and choosing Common Core Math. These new books were designed with the Common Core philosophy in mind and built to optimize the power of CK-12's FLEXBOOK 2.0. We didn't just take our old content and slap a sticker on it saying that it's Common Core. We thought deeply about what the learning progressions were in Common Core and then created lessons, which is what the intent of the Common Core math authors wanted. So not only are they correlated to content standards, but they include a combination of active learning, interactives, examples, and review. Some of you might be saying to me, hey, but Carl, my state doesn't do Common Core. That's a nasty word. Well, with that, we're going to help you understand why these are great books, whether you're Common Core or not. And I get to turn this over to Katie.
All right, thanks, Carl. Okay, so I'm going to take the screen here and I'm going to show you some of our exciting Common Core books. And before I navigate my way over to the books, let me just say that even though you may be saying, I'm not interested in Common Core, you can still benefit from using these books because they're excellent teaching resources for all. And I hope you'll be really excited by what I have to show you. So one of the ways that Carl showed you that you can navigate the books is by starting with this Explore button on the CK-12 page. You can select either FLEXBOOKS 2.0 to get to any of our 2.0 books. All the math ones featured on the page are Common Core State Standards, or go directly to CCSS Math. And here we are on our Common Core page. I'm going to move into those FLEXBOOKS. And here are the math books. And first, I'm going to start by showing you a cool lesson from our latest interactive math book, the Middle School Math 6. I'm going to navigate to Chapter 5, Lesson 6 on the 4 quadrants. And this, by the way, is the student view. We have a teacher view as well in the teacher's edition, and I'll show that to you later. So I'm going to go ahead and start. And you can see the lesson. We try to be really careful with our language and really put a lot of the focus on actual interactives and the interactive questions that go with them. So I'm going to start here with this interactive on 2 dimensions, and we'll get a little example here of how we can look at a number line to discover the coordinate plane. So first we're just looking at the number line. See, okay, what do you do to determine the frog's position in a vertical direction? Well, you could use a vertical number line. I'm going to try doing this incorrectly. And you can see you get some feedback. A little red line here indicates someone did it wrong, but they get to try again. That's in the spirit of the standards, which is all about productive failure, using a student's incorrect answers to help them to learn to better their understanding. And here we go, we got the green line correct, so I'm going to move along. And how do we describe both the vertical and the horizontal? With the first quadrant of the coordinate plane. So there we go, I got that correct. And now I'm going to try to catch a fly. Let me see, I'm going to do this incorrectly again. So I got one coordinate going to be correct and the other is going to be incorrect because it's not on the fly. This frog's going to jump. Oh, and there's that productive failure. You could see that the red line exhibited there. And so here we go. I'm going to jump again. And the fly moves. So let's try this one more time. Okay, you get the idea. We get to explore the first quadrant of the coordinate plane in kind of a fun and engaging way. Students love doing this. You caught the fly. And then to follow up, we have questions that support the interactive. They go along directly with what we just saw. There's images here and feedback to help students with answering the questions. Sometimes the questions take things to the next level. Sometimes they help them work their way through the interactive. But they're a great tool because they give students immediate feedback on the spot. So what do you know about the position of the frog? Well, it's going to be 8 units to the right of 0. Yep, there we go. And we'll look at some more questions in the next interactive. This is a follow-up, so we're taking things to the next level. 4 quadrants this time. So we're going to build off of our previous learning, jump over to that fly, and what's happening? The fly's outside of the grid, so we have to extend into another quadrant. And this uses repeated reasoning, which is part of the mathematical practices and the standards. So let me bring this down again here. Students are finding structure in their problems, which is helping them build upon their learning in a fun way. And there we go. Caught the fly. We explored all 4 quadrants this time. Okay, now let's look at these inline questions. Really powerful tool. We're hearing from teachers that they're loving this. So describe the frog's location in this image. So we've got a vertical location of 1, which is right here, and horizontal location of -1. I'm actually going to go +1 just to see what happens. This is the select all that apply. And there we go. We got a little bit of feedback and indicating which answer is correct and which is incorrect. So let's try this again. We've got our horizontal and the vertical. All right, all good. Now I can move on to the next question. You may have noticed that when I tried again, the answer choice is rearranged, which is nice because that way students can't just memorize the position of a correct answer. They actually have to read through them and think about it. So over here, we're at 4. 4 is our horizontal distance from 0, and 3 is the vertical distance. Okay, looks good. And then the last one in this short little inline quiz. What do we know about the frog's location? So we know that the vertical is 0 and the horizontal is -1. Let's check it out. And I'm going to submit this quiz. And I can either start over or I can review my answers if I like, which is pretty nifty to help summarize the learning that we just did. And if you like, you can have students take screenshots and show you that their completion to prove that they did this. Here's another interactive that's using the coordinate plane in the real world. It may be slightly confusing to students because if you notice, they don't have the clear axes and the degrees. go in a different direction, but this is the real world. Sometimes it's a little bit messy. It doesn't always align exactly with what you went over in class, and that is an opportunity for a great classroom discussion. So over here you can say latitude is -19, so it's going to be right along here. Longitude 56. So I'm going to click, and I got Brazil. Nice. So in this interactive, you can continue to click and identify each of the countries in South America. We have another interactive down at the bottom about making a robot. It's part of a series, but I am going to save some more exploration of interactives for later. And just to review, we were looking at learning through inquisition with the questions, productive failure in the interactives, and they're fun and engaging and a great teaching tool for kids. So let me pass this back over to Carl to continue with the presentation.
Great. Thanks so much, Katie. We are going to take a look here and sorry about that. On the Zoom window, you can see that we've got no questions on the question and answer window, so we'd love you to post some questions there. I know Katie's been doing a great job, and it's pretty amazing all the things that we've put into our Common Core math books. I'll pause just for a second more, and then we'll move on and we'll take a look at some more amazing aspects of our new Common Core math books. Well, Katie, I think I'm going to go ahead and steal the screen back from you, and let's take a look at some strategies here. All right, my computer's being a little unresponsive, unfortunately, so we're just going to deal with that. I'm sure you've all experienced that from time to time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. As I said, let's go take a look, and we'll do strategies next. All right, now that you've seen the books, let's talk about some resources and strategies for using the Common Core books. For each one of our Common Core interactive books, we've included a teacher's guide to help you using these resources. These guides include pacing, vocabulary, or text examples, lesson objectives, standards, and many other resources. Thinking about ways to use these books, let's talk about some strategies that might be useful. Some strategies you might be able to use in class are those beautiful inline questions, because they provide instant feedback. Not only does it tell the student whether they're right or wrong, but it also lets them see exactly kind of what they should have done differently to get the correct answer, and then it allows them to try again. In addition, you've seen a variety of interactives that the students will be doing individually or maybe with a partner. And these are great ways for the students to explore what this concept or lesson is about. Finally, the work it out problem can be used as a warm-up or introduction to a topic, and it really gets the students doing the math and talking about the mathematics. Finally, with doing assignments, you can assign a lesson in practice for homework, and then you, the teacher, will be given feedback of whether they opened the lesson, and then specifically, did they complete the 10 questions necessary in order to succeed at the homework. Remember, our practice figures out where the student is on that concept, and it uses 3 really good determining questions first. So it figures out the level, and then it builds on that student knowledge. So some students might be working in the medium and hard questions on that concept, while other students are still, at the beginning and exploring stage. Finally, if under the toolbar, we have related content. And under the related content, you'll find a variety of modalities that has been curated specifically for this lesson. Thinking about ways to use these books, let's talk some strategies that might also be useful. So, student resources and notes. You can use the highlighting and note-taking features to focus on key ideas. Remember that you can see there on this graphic here, there's a little highlighter pen and the notepad. You can click on those and your students can actually highlight in different colors and they can annotate so that they can put the learning in their own words. Students can also build their own GeoGebra interactives to include in a FLEXBOOK. How powerful could that be that you have content that your students created as part of your FLEXBOOK, and then you get the embed code and you put that code directly into the FLEXBOOK that your class uses. These books are also really good to help us differentiate. We know that not every student learns the same way, and it's important to offer them exactly the learning that they need. So our adaptive practice is the best way to make personalized learning happen on CK-12 because, as I said, it adjusts to student knowledge and progress, always giving him the right content exactly at the right level. And then in a classroom using this FLEXBOOK, you've got blended learning happen because then the teacher gets to go do the things with the right students that they need to focus on. So maybe there's a group of students that aren't understanding this concept at all. So they might need some direct instruction. So while the teacher's using direct instruction on a group of maybe 5 kids off on the side, there's another group that's doing a special assignment to get them caught up on a prerequisite, let's say, and everyone else is just learning at their own level. So the whole idea here is go learn it how you want to. And with that, I'm going to pass this back to Katie so that she can walk you through the teaching guides and talk about some of these strategies.
All right, hi everybody again. I'm going to share my screen once again here. And all right, so here we are back at the CK-12 homepage. And I'm going to show you once again how to navigate over to the Common Core books. Last time we clicked on CCSS Math and you got to see the Common Core page. This time I'm going to skip right on over to FLEXBOOKS 2.0. Takes you to the same materials for math. And I just want to discuss these 6 books really quickly. Since I was thrilled to see that 95% of you wanted to see that interactivity in your books, I just want to let you know that across these 6 books, we have approximately 1,150 embedded interactives, like the frog ones that I showed you. And in addition to that, we have some other cool tools, a smattering of PLIX, like Carl was speaking about, and on top of that, the interactive questions and all kinds of neat stuff. So for the teaching guide, let's start on Middle School Math 8. And let's go down to Chapter 1 on congruence. And I love this lesson on rotations. So before I jump right in, here on this rotations page, before we press start and see the actual lesson, you see that there's other ways that students can learn. They can play with a simulation, they can watch some videos, and then here is a lesson plan that goes along with the lesson that you can open up. And this shows you all kinds of extra stuff that the students can't see. In fact, the students don't even see this little lesson plan tile when they open this up from their view, only from the teacher's view. But right now I'm gonna press start. And here we get a quick glimpse of what this lesson looks like from the student's perspective. The focus of this lesson on sequences of rotations is about how it can be applied with the Mars rover, which is a fun STEM application for students. Here we go back into an abstract interactive. We have the questions that go along with it, and another game-like interactive using sequences of rotation in the Mars rover, followed by more questions, and a little box at the end just to give students some points to help them to remember what the main things were that they needed to get out of the lesson. So this is what the students would see. Let's open up this toolbar over here on the right, and we've got some nice things we can check out. Insights is a new tool that is currently being developed that will give you more information about how your students are using the read. We have related content, which we'll be opening up. You can assign this to a class. You can also assign by pressing this big teal button at the top. You can share it, add it to your own 2.0, and then more details about the lesson down here. So like I said, we're going to jump into related content. And you see here are those 4 tiles that we saw at the beginning: the simulation, the videos, and the lesson plan. So let's see that teacher lesson plan. Now you get a whole bunch of more stuff in the lesson that was not included in the teacher version, or excuse me, in the student version. For example, you see the standards and the prerequisite standards. We have the learning objectives, and our learning objectives at CK-12 are pulled directly from the Common Core standards, uses the same language, and everything within the lesson, whether it's the interactives, the questions, the text of the lesson, everything relates back directly to the learning objectives, which again come from the standards. We have a little schedule to help you identify how long you can spend on each part of the lesson. And we have notes in purple for you, the teacher, that the students can't see, to help guide you through the activity in the lesson. You can also assign this end of lesson quiz, which is great. So students can use this quiz to show you what they know, what they learned from the lesson. And this one is just a short one, 6 questions. You can customize it if you like, add your own questions, change the title, and you can assign it to the class right here by pressing this orange text. So I'm going to go back over to our lesson, start with a warm-up on the Mars rover. Got a little bit of information about it. And one of the things I love about this interactive is it's really simple. It looks really nice, but it's actually pretty challenging. So here I'm gonna type in a couple of degrees. Let's see if the Mars rover arm can pick up the rock. Hit execute, and oh, failure, not close enough. Try again. Okay, let's see. What if I go all the way to 180? Does this look better? You can see the animation happening. Oh, even worse. Okay, so you get to try again, which is great for mathematical practice. Number 1, make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. It may take your students several tries. And in that case, you have some questions here to guide them through the process. You can ask them about what challenges they're facing. Did you get better after a couple of tries? Imagine the people at NASA have to deal with when they're trying to do this in real life. And did anyone figure out any strategies that maybe the class can work on together? So let me try this. It's not really fair because I have tried this on my own several times. And execute. Here we go. Success, I picked up the rock. Okay, cool. So now I can reset to try a different rock in a different location. So the challenge keeps going and going and students can apply their learning. And here we get into the actual core of the lesson. We have an abstract interactive that allows students to rotate their triangles counterclockwise and clockwise. And here's the sequence. They get to try it again and then compare back to the original. In the student version, we had an inline question set right here at the bottom, below the interactive, with questions that built on the interactivity. And as the teacher, I'm sure you would much rather be able to catch a glimpse at all of the questions and easily be able to answer students' questions about them and determine some answers already ahead of time. So here we have all the questions written out for you, transcribed, with the purple text shows the correct answers. So you can just use this as an answer key and go in and help students immediately. And like I said, this last interactive is a lot of fun. We are going to be guiding a rover here based on our Socratic questions up here that built upon one another and the lesson text and the interactivity. We are now ready for this challenge. So you can rotate it. I'm going to flip this over to 180 degrees, take one step. There we go. And let's see. Now I'm going to try rotating it again, changing my number of steps. There we go. Success. Okay, now this time I'm going to see what happens if I make a mistake. Productive failure, right? Let's see what happens. And execute, taking too many steps, crashed. You got to retry and start all over again. So students are in no way penalized for doing an interactive incorrectly. It's all fun. They get to try again. And yeah, it's all good. So once again, we have our questions here at the bottom. We have the answers written out for you. And also a little bit of extra information goes along often with the lessons to give you ideas about how to approach possible student answers and possible challenges. And down here at the bottom is that same quiz that you saw earlier. You can click down here to assign the quiz to students. So you can see the lesson plan is a really useful tool for teachers. I'm going to go back over to the student page, which I can click on this link to get back there. And what's really nice is if you are customizing the book, say you want to use this, but you really don't like this lesson in position chapter 1, lesson 7, you want to move this over to another chapter. If you rearrange it, the lesson plan stays with the lesson. So no matter where you move this within the book, you still have easy access to the lesson plan that goes with it. And oh, another thing that might be useful for you to see is the curriculum guide. So I'm going to go back to the main table of contents page. This is the front of the book. We actually have a full teacher edition with all of the collected lesson plans for each lesson. And if you scroll down to the very bottom, there's an extra chapter here, the curriculum guide, that does not display in the student edition. So we're going to open that up. And here is where you'll see the standards mapping. We've got the full scope and sequence here with the prerequisite standards and focus standards for each of the lessons, for each chapter. And then we can look at it in the other direction. So lessons by standard. Say you want to focus on a certain standard, you can check and see which lessons it corresponds with. And then finally, we have the focus standards. So in Common Core for 8th grade, the CCSS identified major clusters, supporting clusters, and additional clusters. And the majority of the time it was intended to be spent on the major clusters. And so we have a lesson count to go with each one. You could see we spend 83.2% of the curriculum on the major standards, which is in line with the suggestions from Common Core. Another thing that I would just like to mention real quickly is those related modalities that we saw. Actually, let me take you back to the student page really quickly. So once again, a quick navigation. So we were on 1.7, sequences of rotations. The related modalities here, you can assign any of these. Currently, you have to search for them individually in order to assign them, but very soon we will have a feature that will allow you to assign the related modalities from the book. So were you to click on this awesome seesaw simulation, you would then be able to assign to class, and just like that, instead of having to open it up, you could just assign it from here. So we've covered a lot of information here. We got to see some really cool interactives. Carl, like to take it away? Continue the presentation?
Sure, we're actually going to stop now and we're going to stop now and we're going to have a few questions that our users have been asking. So one of them is, are the students' interactive work recorded in their FLEXBOOK that the teacher can go back and review after?
So you can see their work that they did on the quiz. When it comes to the insights tool that I showed you is currently in progress. We will be developing on further across time. That will give you lots of information about student progress through the lesson. You'll be able to see all kinds of information about time spent on different aspects of the lesson and completion of different portions.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that saying that one of the reasons we have migrated now to the 2.0 platform is that we are developing so many wonderful, intelligent, and insightful features that we think are going to be really useful for both teachers and the students. And one of them is exactly what Katie was just talking about, to be able to see, for example, how much time did each student spend on each part of the lesson. And then, there's so many great things that we can share with the teacher that might make it easier for you to run your classroom. So we've developed these specifically for this new learning environment, the 2.0 classroom. All right, Paula has a question here, Katie, about where do they find all the lesson plans and the teacher guides?
Sure. So if you open up any one of the books, just like how we found them, oh, excuse me. So if we found them using the Explore button, either FLEXBOOKS 2.0 or CCSS Math, and you click on any one of these books, these are the student books, you can get to the teacher's guide from this little link right here. And this is the full collection of all of the teacher lesson plans, lesson by lesson.
And as Katie said, there's going to be a wealth of information there, pacing guides and answers and things like just so much there that you're going to use in order to do your preparation for the lesson. All right, someone's asked a question here. What percentages of the states have implemented your program? And I think the thing is we have things that are offering, like we have people around the world that use our products. In fact, 26 million users came to CK-12's website, and we have users in every single state. Now, not all those users are whole districts, of course. Sometimes, I was in a classroom today here in California, and the whole science department uses us, but the math department doesn't. Because they already had a math program that was robust and they had built around. But you'll find that kind of the implementation really varies from site to site, but we do have whole districts now that have decided to not just do it the old-fashioned way and buy another book from a large publisher because it wasn't meeting all their needs. They weren't able to personalize lessons the way they can on CK-12. And remember, everything all these lessons that you're seeing here on CK-12 are fully customizable, meaning you can change anything that you'd like to in the lesson. You can bring in student work. You can bring in whole chapters or activities that you happen to do at your school, and it's still part of your final product. All you have to do is go down and click on that customize button on the table of contents, and you'll make your own version of the book. And I think that's really powerful, and people have not, they're just understanding what that means. And people, I even have like many independent schools who have more of the ability to purchase textbooks than maybe a school who's decided we're not buying any more textbooks. And when they do that, independent schools are using CK-12 not because it's free, but because in the end, they end up with the best quality content that they can create for their students. And in my mind, that's what all of us are trying to do. And luckily at CK-12, we make it easy. So are there more public or private schools that have been, well, I would say in general, more public schools have implemented CK-12, and we just have many more. There are many more public school users out there. And, but inevitably, you know, we do have private schools all around the world and from various systems, whether it's the International Baccalaureate or, you know, the American school system, you know, India, we have some users that have been able to take the CK-12 core content and really make it something special for their students. All right, that's it on the questions here. So I think I'm gonna grab the screen again, Katie, and I'm gonna wrap things up, and then we're gonna stay on and answer all your questions after I've gone through this last part, and we'll stay around and keep talking to you as long as you have questions for us. So let me go ahead and grab the screen here. All righty. All right, once again, if you have not already done this, the session resource page is tinyurl.com/CK12 CCSS 2019. And this is a great thing to print out because I think one of the nice things is you can give it to a friend and you can say, hey, go check out these books. Or if you download the PDF, you can email it to them, and it really gives them some idea of what's available on CK-12. And, you know, we're always asking our users, since we don't charge for anything, we really encourage you to help us out by paying it forward. Help us be our sales force and spread the word about CK-12. We've been talking today about Common Core Math, but obviously CK-12 has so many science projects. Our PLIX interactives are amazing in science, and our simulations also are being used. Like I said, I was in a classroom today, and it was a 7th grade class that used our simulation on the periodic table, and there was another one on the chemistry one on the atoms. And so it was, you know, these resources just need to be used, and because they're free, we really think that you know, more and more people should have access to them. All right, we have future webinars coming up on Wednesday, November 13th. LMS breakout, how to use CK-12 with Canvas and Schoology. So if you use either one of these LMSs, join us that day and see specifically how to access it through the CK-12 app from inside Schoology or Canvas. And finally, on Thursday, December 5th, we've got community contributed and non-STEP content. This is our area of growth that you wouldn't believe. People are using our platform now to bring all their own content, whether it's Spanish or history or AP economics. Like, you'd be amazed. People are really enjoying the fact it's a great platform to create the content and then share it with their students, or in fact, other educators around the world. You can also search for other content on our schools pages and really find stuff that you're looking for. So CK-12 isn't just limited to math and science. We've really expanded out now. And I think right now you can search like world history and you'll be amazed at the world history books. Somebody also asked, this webinars page is a great way to share CK-12 with other educators that you know. If you know people that could benefit by today's webinar, tomorrow the webinar will be available, an archived version on YouTube, and the link will be provided on this page, ck12.org/webinars. All right, finally here, once again, if you have not become part of our certification program, it's a great way to learn all the many benefits of CK-12. It's ck12.org/certified, and it's free like everything on CK-12. There's no fee to do it. And in the end, what we've heard from our certified educators is they end up with a broad knowledge of CK-12, plus they know where to access what we offer and find out more information. If you'd like to contact us, if you have any questions about our certification program, please contact us at jumpstart@ck12.org. Your feedback, of course, is super useful to us. So if you have feedback that you want to give on today's webinar so we can make it better in the future, it's tinyurl.com/CK12 feedback 1920. And with that, we are going to say a big thank you. We appreciate all of our users from around the world. I saw Korea and Geneva and back east in Idaho. So thanks to all of you for taking time out of your day and finding a little bit more out about our amazing interactive math products. You know, Katie is part of the math team that has worked so hard to make these happen. And I think we're super proud and we're really happy to hear the great response that our users are telling us that their kids are really engaging with the math lesson now in a way that just never was possible in their classroom. And then CK-12 is providing them the opportunity to do personalized learning in a much deeper way than before. Remember that please mention us on Twitter and on Facebook. We've got our at CK-12 Foundation, and if you're a part of the certification program, hashtag CK-12 certified. All right, so let's go now and see, Katie, have there been any more questions that have popped up as I've been wrapping this up?
So let's see, we're hearing about, can you run subject-specific webinars like physics and chem? In the past, we have had webinars that were math related and science related. We haven't yet finalized our next set of webinars for this summer, so stay tuned. And let's see, I think that's it in the queue for questions. So thank you guys so much. This has been such a pleasure to present to you guys today.
Absolutely. Well, and Katie, thank you for all the really great information. Thank the whole team here at the World Headquarters Studio. And to all of you out there, feel free to reach out to us at support@ck12.org, and we're here to help you. We have actual human beings that answer your questions. So we welcome hearing from you, and tell us just how it's going and what works for using CK-12. All right, thank you all from Palo Alto, California. We say adios.